All right. Everyone hear me okay? All right, welcome. Welcome to our Ignatian Pedagogical Commission meeting in the basement, in a bar at 11 a.m. My name is Jamie Kralovic, and I am from Georgetown University and have been serving on this commission with a group of wonderful colleagues. And I have been asked to begin our time for today's session by entering into a bit of poetry. Our commission selected a poem, thanks to our colleague Kim Connor, that in a lot of ways reflects the significance and meaning of all right, keep it closer. A poem that reflects the spirit, the content, and the inspiration of the work that we've done together as a group. And so before I read the poem, I would just like us to take a moment to resettle our bodies, to get as comfortable as we can. And maybe in the spirit of our Ignatian tradition, get in touch with one gratitude that we're savoring or sitting with as we begin our time together. And as you relax your body and enter into your breathing and notice your gratitude, I invite you to receive as a gift this poem by Thomas Sentinella. In the evening we shall be examined on love. St. John of the Cross. And it won't be multiple choice, though some of us would prefer it that way. Neither will it be essay, which tempts us to run on when we should be sticking to the point, if not together. In the evening there shall be implications. Our fear will change to complications. No cheating will be told, and we'll try to figure the cost of being true to ourselves in the evening when the sky has turned that certain blue of exam books, blue of no more daily evasions. We shall climb the hill as the light empties and park our tired bodies on a bench above the city and try to fill in the blanks. And we won't be tested like defendants on trial, cross-examined till one of us breaks down, guilty as charged. No. In the evening, after the day has refused to testify, we shall be examined on love, like students who don't even recall signing up for the course, and now must take their orals, forced to speak for once from the heart and not off like the top of their heads. And when the evening is over and it's late, the student body asleep, even the great teachers retired for the night, we shall stay up and run back over the questions, each in our own way. What's true? What's false? What unknown quantity will balance the equation? What it would mean years from now to look back and know we did not fail.
Welcome and good morning. I'm Kathleen Smythe, and I am thrilled to be here with the commission and to have you here. And we will accept creaky bar stools on a concrete floor as part of our background noise. So on behalf of myself and Ed Peck, we are part of the Ignatian Pedagogical Paradigm Commission, and we welcome you to this workshop, which we have designed to be interactive. We have 20 members from 17 different AJCU institutions in our commission, and working with them has genuinely been a pleasure. I think you can all imagine 17 months of Zoom meetings going a different direction, but we have had a really good and productive time together. And I want to ask those who are here today, it's a fraction of our commission, to just stand and be recognized. You likely have one or more at your table. Or wave your hands. Maybe it's easier to wave your hands, yeah, with the bar stools. Good call, good call. I saw a lot of hesitation. Yeah. So thanks to you all. We do have two members who weren't able to make it to Chicago, and I just want to recognize both of them. Arthur Sutherland and Kari Kloos were not able to make it, but were an integral part of our work. And of course, we want to thank Father Garanzini and the AJCU team for investing us with this rather capacious charge. So we're going to jump right in. We are going to follow the IPP as we proceed today, and we're going to share with you the bulk of our work over our time together, which includes a synthesis paper that provides a contemporary and historical perspective on a number of key terms for the Jesuit approach to teaching and learning, and you see a key term sheet on your table that covers that, and the back is just a brief description of the IPP. But most fundamentally, what we want to share with you today and what we hope to take into the coming months and years ahead as a network together is a certificate program on the IPP that can be used at our member institutions. So we want to share some of this with you now. And mostly what we want to do is take advantage of your collective experience, your ideas, your individual institutions, and experiences as well. So we're going to move into context. And the first step is two things: to introduce yourselves to each other, since you'll be working together over the next hour, and also then to answer this question. How familiar are you with the distinctive style of learning in the Jesuit tradition, often referred to as IPP? And we give you some possible responses to sort of categorize yourself, but feel free to move outside that box. So we have about 12 or 13 minutes for this part. So no rush, kind of dig in, get to know each other a little bit, and we'll tell you what the next step is when the time is right. Okay. I'm going to try to bring you back. Sorry. Sounds like good conversation. So we're going to do two more rounds in other versions with other questions. But each time we wanted to give an opportunity to hear just a snippet maybe from one group, maybe two. We won't have time every time for each group. But is there something that you heard that was particularly surprising or that you will take with you that you think might be good for all of us to hear from your first discussion? Yes, please.
My name is John Cicero from Fordham University. I was really excited at my table to hear about this certificate program in Ignatian pedagogy, and that, the School of Education has a big role to play in this certificate, but the center as well, and how especially new faculty can be incentivized to engage in this learning about this paradigm, even pursuing a certificate. This would be really exciting because at Fordham, as you'll hear, we have two folks from theology who are doing it, but to really kind of broaden that out is exciting.
Wonderful. That's what we hoped. Anyone else want to share just a minute or less of something that came up that... No? Yes. Michelle. Should have worn my running shoes.
Thanks, Kathleen. Hi, everyone. I'm Michelle Stark-Barrett from College of the Holy Cross. Two things that came up. One is I think everybody was pretty impressed with St. Louis University and what they've been doing with their core to integrate the IPP with that. So talk to these folks here if you want to hear more about that. But the other thing that came up at our table was efforts people are making to integrate the IPP outside of the classroom as well and work with student development. So a lot of thinking around that in our conversation.
Great, thank you. So I'm going to turn it over now to my colleague Ed, and we will carry on.
Okay, I just set my timer because I have 8 minutes to do what we could take a half an hour to do easily. But my name is Ed Peck. I'm the Vice President for University Mission and Identity at John Carroll University. And I'm very happy to co-chair this work and work with these amazing colleagues, half of whom are here today. The other half are in other commissions learning from there, and then they'll join us tomorrow. But what we wanted to do was next focus on an experience. So the next step of the Ignatian pedagogical paradigm is experience. So we want to invite you to experience two pieces of our work in an overview way. Now, each of you has a little two pieces of paper in front of you, and they point to two of the three projects that we were working on. First is so what you have, if you can look at the page that has Ignatian Pedagogical Paradigm, it's got the least writing on it. That is a cheat sheet that really marks the way people tend to understand the IPP in its basic form. It's this 5-step, historically rooted paradigm that talks about the kind of teaching and learning that is typical of a Jesuit approach to education. Context, experience, reflection, action, evaluation. So that's, for those of you familiar with the IPP, you recognize that. But for those of you who are new, we wanted to make sure you had that. So that's why that's there for one side. The other side is a list of some key thoughts that came from a synthesis paper that our group thought was important to develop. So if we wanted to be able to respond to the invitation to reflect upon and advance ideas on how the IPP is understood and how it operates on our campuses, we wanted to spend some time synthesizing the contemporary thinking around the Ignatian pedagogical paradigm. So that paper is available to you all online, and some of you may have read it before you came here. We hope that all of you will go home and read it because you're so curious. So what I'd like to do is to invite you at your tables to go around, and just so you can have an experience of reading the paper. We're going to invite you to go around your table. You probably have to go around twice to just read each of the phrases. All right? So you have 1 minute to do that, or 2 minutes if you need it. But and you can make some noise, so that's fine. This is an interactive part. So just read and listen to these ideas that come from this wonderful synthesis paper that we're so excited about. Okay, thank you. All right, so hopefully you paid attention to what was going on inside of you, and we're going to give you some time to reflect upon the experience of getting a hint of what is in this paper. It is a wonderful, exciting paper that describes some of the best of what's happening on our campuses because it comes from the work of our practitioners. The next piece of the work that we did together is the development of a network-wide certificate program to introduce those people involved in teaching and learning on our campuses. Faculty who teach in the classroom, but other colleagues who teach our students in multiple kinds of settings. We wanted to develop a program where we start to have a common lexicon and common understanding of this developing, innovative, living tradition of teaching and learning in our network of schools. We wanted to be able to think beyond the basic way we've tended to understand the IPP, which is important, and engage in the practice of it. So what we've done is we've designed a certificate program that will be an opt-in program made available to all of our schools, and we expect that either the mission officer or someone involved in the provost office or the teaching and learning center on your school will be interested and want to learn about the program and bring it to your faculty and your staff who teach, and bring it to your campus. So basically what we've designed was a 7-module program that we envision being taught over the course of a semester or 2 quarters, where you might meet for 2 hours every 2 weeks and get it in the semester. Someone may adapt it and put it throughout the whole year. That's fine. We thought 7 modules, 2 weeks apart, and keep the module. And we design principles. We had to keep the modules manageable for busy people to be able to fit it in the course of everything else they're doing. We also wanted to scaffold the modules. We wanted to make sure there's a common understanding to begin, go through what we know about the IPP historically, but then start to point beyond it. You'll notice, for those of you so what you have on the sheet that I'm going to invite you to look at more closely is a description of the program, its objectives, an outline of the 6 modules. The 7th module is TBD because what we're planning on doing is launching a pilot program next year and learning from the people that go through in a good entrepreneurial fashion what is missing. What are people wanting to do as number 7? Or maybe we need to do a little bit more around the beginning. So that means my time is up. And so what I'd like now to do is invite you in 4 minutes. This is a personal reflection. So I'm going to invite you, please, to consider, take a look at the description of the IPP certificate program, and also look again at the keywords from the paper, and just answer these questions that are up here on the board. The first is, what do you imagine you might gain from participating in such a program fueled and inspired by the paper that we've written? 2, what most resonates in this program or with these terms? Where do you feel energy, hope, gratitude? Right? And 3, what questions emerge for you or concerns when you think about the program? So we're going to give you 4 minutes to reflect upon that yourself. Jot down a couple notes, and then we're going to invite you to pair share. So you'll turn to someone and discuss them. Right? So 4 minutes of individual reflection, and then we're going to give you 8 minutes to talk to another person. Thank you. I'm sorry to interrupt. One thing I forgot to do is the second side, of this paper is a sample of what a module would look like. And you'll notice that it is aligned up with the context, experience, reflection, action, and we talk about the kinds of things that we might do on it. Okay, so what I hope you noticed, just before I put you into the parishes, what I hope you noticed is that you'll see the familiar in the early modules moving into some contemporary understandings, and these are reflected in the paper. And then what you saw on the back is the design of one module and these are all scaffolded, so we begin by inviting you to think about what did you know about the topic before you started, then as you set the context, what did you recall from the last module, so there's some review, and then there's the experience of the readings for that week, some time to reflect, and then this program features an action journal, so we're going to invite participants in the program to keep a running track of how might I apply this to my work, and then how would I evaluate it. So there's some really important living pieces that are reflected in this. So now, yes. So module 7 is yet to be determined, where we hope to be told by participants what is the next module. I mentioned it earlier, but it's worth repeating. So now what I'd like to do is just to pair up with someone and talk about what you reflected upon. And we're going to ask if there's 1 or 2 people that might want to share a question they have or an insight they had as a result of the pair sharing. So you have 8 minutes to do that. So when I was talking to someone last night about, we are the lucky ones who get to have our workshop here in a bar. And if you didn't know I was from Boston, now you do. But what better place to remind ourselves that the Ignatian pedagogical paradigm involves, among other things, the discernment of spirits. Right? That joke fell flat. Okay, never mind. Sorry. All right. Come on. All right, come on. Lighten up, everyone. This is not so serious. All right, there we go. All right, so wonderful energy in the room. We're so happy. One thing that we wanted to mention, in addition to all of the amazing colleagues who've given of their time and energy to develop this certificate program and write the paper and catalog what we're doing in the network, there's a colleague who's been doing this for decades, this work, Carol Scheidenhelm, who is a retired person who worked here at Loyola Chicago with Mark Bosco and others. I don't know, did she ever work with you, Michael? Yeah, okay. And so, but anyway, she gave her time very generously. She's been working on this for generations and in multiple formats, and she has been a driving force behind our thinking and gathering and putting together the work that our individual teams have been doing of the certificate program. So we're really excited. She's going to be here tomorrow, but I really want to just acknowledge that important work that someone who loves this stuff so well in her retirement said, sign me up. Yes, I want to help, and I'll do it all. So God bless you, Carol, and if you see her, thank her, and know that work is coming. And that's the kind of people that we have working in our network. So I wanted to see if there were one or two comments from your sharing that you might want to share with the larger group. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Jenny Lacher at Seattle University, and one idea we were talking about, you solicited ideas for a Module 7, but I'd like to suggest a Module 0. And this is a module in which educators, whether they're faculty or staff, would reflect on questions such as, what do you desire for your students? What motivates you as an educator? What kind of difference do you want to make as an educator? And in my experience, by first asking people to engage in those kinds of motivational questions, it opens them up for the information that you're going to give them, and it opens them up to be interested in change, to be able to incorporate the new information because it relates to their motivations.
Thank you. Great idea. I'm glad. Please make sure that you include that in the form because it's wonderful. Anything else back here?
Hi, I'm Ellen Macaron, Acting Vice President of Mission Integration at Gonzaga University, and I want to take things in a very different direction than the last comment. How has the commission thought about how flexible this can be for the people who want the credential but are so well versed in this, they're like, if I have to go through Jesuit vocabulary one more time, I'm going to kill you. How do we fit this into the formation programs that are already on our campuses so people don't say, well, I already went through your formation program, why would I bother to spend the time doing this?
That is a great question, and we've thought a little bit about this, but I think we need to talk about it as we develop the program more. But one possible solution that we've discussed is if there's an equivalent program on your campus, then make the certificate participation in that program could be understood through the network as worthy of getting their certificate. So we're not going to ask people to repeat things they've already done. And then, of course, the logical answer is make sure some of those people come and help teach in the program once they've learned it. But so another question, but thank you. That's a great idea to think of.
A joke. There's probably most of you have heard this about Jesuits, that a missionary or something came to a parish and gave a sermon. At the end, this mother of some boy comes over and says, "Oh, I think my son should become a priest. Maybe he should become part of your order." He said, "What kind of order are you?" "Oh, I'm a Franciscan." "Oh, how long is the training?" "Oh, 7 years. It's a long time." And she's like, "Oh, that is a long time. But is there anyone who has longer training?" "Yes, the Dominicans have 8 years of training." And then he says, "But then the Jesuits have 9 years of training." She says, "That's the one for my son." And he says, "Oh, is your son very smart?" And she says, "No, my son's pretty slow. He's going to need the 9 years of training. And the reason I bring that up is that, I don't know if you guys are talking about this, but to me there's a real urgency about this kind of training because of the decline in Jesuits and the rumors that maybe up to half of our schools may no longer be Jesuit. And so there's that high school model of the Ignatian high schools, and wonder if we can do that, where if we have enough lay people who are trained in Jesuit things for a long time, could kind of, get those kind of Ignatian colleges or universities. And so to me, I'm thinking we need as much training as we can get, So if people have been trained in things for years, probably not the 9 years that Jesuits get trained in this kind of thing. And I think we're going to need it for the future.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. I think this type of programming behind it is to answer the question, how can we become more and how can we lean into our Jesuit mission? And this is one of many ways the network is proposing that we can do that. So thank you. Okay, next, Kathleen.
Okay, so the next step, as many of you know, is action. So now that you've had a chance to reflect on both the terms that come out of the synthesis paper and just a little bit on the certificate, we're going to ask you to think about then what might happen as you take one or both or the combination thereof back to your campuses. So again, we're going to start with some individual time to just think about the, in this case, 2 questions. The first one is, how do you envision actually utilizing the paper and or certificate on your campus? And then we really lost those last words, didn't we? What would you like us to add or amplify is the last question. But if you can think of a better word that you'd like to answer, since you can't see that one, feel free. So yeah, again, about 4 minutes individually to quietly reflect. Okay. I'm going to ask you to finish up. And once again, we'd love to hear, yes, some of your, yes, absolutely, some of your conversation.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jill Guttormson. I'm at Marquette University, and the 3 of us are talking, a little bit bouncing off the conversation about maintaining our Jesuit identity, that this is an amazing module as structured. It is a significant time commitment, and it requires facilitators. Are there a way to tier this such that there is a shorter thing you could do with some sort of lunch and learn to get broad scope across your campus, and then broad interest in doing the certificate? Because if we only lean into the certificate, it's not going to get disseminated as much as I think it should be across our universities.
Yeah, this is exactly what we're hoping would happen, right? Is that more minds would come up with better ideas, right, about how to get all of this out. And there's a great freedom at each institution to scaffold it also, right, in ways that make the most sense. The last thing we wanted was for this to feel like it's a tight, garment that needs to be worn in the same way by every institution. So yeah, thank you so much. Other thoughts, queries, concerns? No? All right, everybody's thinking about lunch.
Okay, so the last piece that we're going to work on is evaluation. And we thought the way to do this would be to come up with an online survey that we would invite you to take. And that survey just asks you to tell us who you are, where you're working, what you do there, and would you be interested in learning more about this? Maybe would you like this to come to your campus? So I'm not sure, but before you actually engage in this, just if anyone can see if this works for you, it doesn't work for me because there's no internet down here. So and I'm going to assume that you all are mired in disconnectivity as I am. It's also in the program, but I don't think that works either down here. So, but like good Ignatian educators, we just have to roll with the punches, right? And be adaptable. So what we've done is we've gone old school, and at each of your tables, your table leader has a piece of paper, and what I need is your name. What we need is your name and your email. We want it, all right? See? Jumping ahead. No big deal. You can still go back. Paper works backwards too. We want to know who's here, and we will send you the survey because we really, really want your feedback. So what is it that we want your feedback on? One of the next steps for us as a commission is in the design of the program, we thought, let's follow good entrepreneurial design work and test something before we launch it for everyone. So we envisioned coming up with a pilot program, which also gave us the ability to feel like we can develop the 6 modules, eventually 7, without feeling like it has to be perfect out of the gate. So what we're looking for are about 8 to 10 schools who will agree to pilot this with us on their campus. And we are going to promote this through the mission officers and the academic vice president offices to see if we can get, and we already have schools lined up. So next year, this coming year, we expect to run a pilot program in the first semester, maybe even in the second semester if we need to. And we want to ask people to go through it and give us their feedback, and then we can perfect it such that, or make it better, I guess, so that in the fall of 2025, the certificate will be available on any campus in the network that wants to use it. We envision it housed on a website so that it's easily accessible by people. And as Kathleen mentioned, we want to adapt this on each campus. Some places may need to do it online. We encourage in person, but you may need to do it remotely. Or you may want to do it over 2 semesters. So we really want to develop a tool that is implemented on the campus and give them great flexibility on who teaches it. And what Carol wanted me to remind people that part of the work that we want to do is we're going to offer a couple sessions. So part of agreeing to be part of the pilot program is that your facilitator will participate in a few training sessions so that they're familiar with how to do this. There's a consistency to the modules and to the approach that I think there's a nice rhythm to get into, but it's certainly we want to make sure that those people who will be doing the work will have some training themselves. And we're going to look for people who already have a baseline familiarity. So what the evaluation will ask you is any feedback you have for us. The feedback you've given today, things you think about, how you think this might be used on your campus and who we should talk to. So that being said, I want to.
One possible other thing is that we are under the impression that if work like this is sort of in process, that there might be AJCU support for continuing on as a commission. So if you are interested or you see your school isn't represented on our commission, right, please also let us know that. We don't know what form that's going to take. That's a very amorphous thing at this point. But again, there does seem to be some energy around that. This actual topic was there was a working group on it before the commission. So it's got legs beyond this particular assembly.
And we also hope that you will take time to read the paper. And there's nothing stopping any of us from taking that paper and using it as a point of dialogue, a conversation starter on our campus, and to think about what might you add to the paper or how is it understood on your campus, because that too is a living document that is meant to start a conversation, not be the last word. So we have about 5 minutes left. Any lingering questions that we could answer very briefly. And then I also want to invite any of our fellow commission members who want to share an insight or a thought before we all leave, especially if it's going to help us as a group. No? All right. Well, Kathleen, I'm going to let you have the last word, but I just wanted to thank you all for being here, and to my colleagues who work so tirelessly together. It's been a great journey, and it's been exciting, and we look forward to the further development of this. Kathleen.
Yeah, just thank you. And you're actually here in this pub because we were insistent on having tables so you could talk to each other. So I hope it's been a beneficial experience for you out there at those tables. Thank you so much.